Anyways, Joseph goes ahead, interprets those dreams, and whenever he's done interpreting the dream, he's like, yeah, go ahead, save up for the 7 years of plenty, and then during the 7, because you'll have to save up for the 7 years of famine. So Pharaoh was like, cool, I want you to be in charge of saving up for like the 7 years of famine. So that ends up happening. And so 7 years of plenty, they save up, they stock up everything. And then after the 7 years of plenty, massive famine comes all across the world. I'm sure, I haven't looked into this, but I'm pretty sure there's going to be some kind of evidence that, oh yeah, there was a giant famine, because usually have some kind of proof that there was some kind of famine. So anyways, 7 years of famine happened, and during this time, people from nations in that known world go over to Joseph and are like, hey, help us. Not only Joseph, but Pharaoh, because they find out they have plenty of food and they actually stocked up for this time. So what ends up happening is that Egypt becomes like basically a modern day superpower. Basically like a modern day superpower, whereas other nations are like starving and they have nothing. So yeah, they become a superpower in the known world. So fast forward, Moses, he goes ahead and go forward like 200-300 years, and Moses ends up meeting up. Moses was trained, taught by the Pharaoh and by like the Egyptians, so he had a wonderful education. But he eventually learned that, hey, he's actually an Israelite by blood, not by, yeah, he's an Israelite by blood. So he's an Israelite by blood. And he's like, I'm going to go out, see the people. And he ends up killing another Egyptian. The Pharaoh gets angry because that's his grandson. Who knows how many grandkids he had. And he ends up, because Pharaoh is picked up from the river. So what it is that his mom, back then they were killing the boys of Israelites. And they're like, go ahead, kill the boys, keep the girls. And he told the nurse midwives that. Well, the nurse midwives were like, okay, sure, yes, Pharaoh. And then they would get to the house in order to help the baby, like, be born or whatever. And then it's like, oh, you know what? Like, these women are just so lively. By the time we get there, like, the baby's already born and they're safe. And no, I imagine they helped, like, birth the baby. And then it's like, it's a boy. We're not going to kill the baby, like, at all. It's a baby. So anyways, his mom went ahead and created a basket out of reeds, because this is along the Nile River, and then patched up with tar so that way nothing could get in, and then placed her son inside this basket along the river, and the river floats down and eventually makes its way over to Pharaoh's daughter. Pharaoh picks up the reed basket, or has her handmaiden pick up the reed basket, and it's like, this is one of the Israelite kids. Babies. Like, he's supposed to be dead, and he's not. And she's like, oh, he's such a, nice baby. Prince of Egypt did a really good job with, like, picking up the baby, and the baby's like, oh, hi, it's so sweet and precious. Like, oh my goodness. So anyways, Moses, so she sees the baby and is like, find a nurse midwife for me. And back then, I think they would go ahead and nurse the baby until they were 3 years old. So basically, old enough to like have all their teeth grown in and be able to have solid foods, basically. So basically, his older sister is nearby and is like, oh, I know a lady who can be a nurse midwife to him. So she goes and gets her mom, so Moses' own mother, and grabs her mom, brings her over, and is like, hey, guess what? You get to be a nurse midwife. And so she ended up taking care of her own son that she left adrift on the Nile so that the Pharaoh's daughter could find. So the Pharaoh's daughter ends up raising him. So basically, he's the grandson of the Pharaoh. And I don't know what happened. I don't know if, like, his adopted family held it over him. Oh, you're not really part of us. But he, from what I'm guessing, not 100% sure, but what I'm guessing is that he still had the same education as the Egyptians, but he had the knowledge that basically I'm an Israelite by blood. And I guess back then, like, blood was thicker than, like, water or whatever. Blood was thicker than friends. But I think it was because it also contributed to, like, a whole identity, and times were different back then. Times can still be similar today, but sometimes they can be different. So anyways, they go ahead. What ends up happening? They end up, let's see what else happened. So anyways, Moses ends up killing a guy, because he sees that the Egyptian guard, I'm guessing guard, but the Egyptian is beating one of the Israelites, and he goes ahead and kills the guard. And he ends up hiding the man in the sand, while some of the Israelites, either A, one of them told others, or B, some other of the Israelites heard about it. And then they're like, oh, like they were fighting, and Moses is like, why are you guys fighting among yourselves? You're brothers. So I'm guessing, like, for Moses, that cultural identity was very, very deep, even if the other Israelites did not always feel it for each other. So they went ahead and, like, what did they end up doing? They were like, who are you to tell us, like, whether to do something or not to do something? So they end up going ahead, and Moses leaves, runs away. He's like, if these two know about it, more than likely the Pharaoh is going to know about it. And again, he's just the grandson. And murder is murder. So he goes ahead and runs away, and he spent 40 years in Egypt. He runs away, and he ends up spending 40 years as basically a shepherd. And, ooh, cold hands. Yeah, so he ends up spending like 40 years as a shepherd. He ends up getting married, so he's like 80 years old. And, around 80. He goes ahead and, he ends up climbing up this mountain. I forget why, but he notices that there's this bush that's not actually burning. It has this flame, like, all around it. It's basically like, you know, those cotton swabs are dipped in alcohol, and then you light it on fire, and the fire goes out, but the piece of paper or whatever, it doesn't, like, burn at all. So basically it was like that. So, yeah. So, yeah, he goes ahead, and what does he end up doing? So, yeah, he goes ahead, and he's like, hey, what's up? Like, why is this bush, you know, what's going on with this bush? And God is like, take off your sandals, because this is holy ground. So he takes off his sandals, and yeah, so he takes off his sandals, and whenever he takes off his sandals, God is like, listen, I want you to go back to Egypt, because again, Moses was trained under the Egyptian way, so he knows, like, the procedures. He knows how to talk to them. He knows, like, because he was raised by them, he was educated by them, but he also feels very, very akin to the Israelites. And so God is like, I'm going to send you to go and talk to the Israelites. And Moses is like, hold up. Like, send my older brother. So he's aware that he basically has at least an older brother and an older sister. And God is like, who made man's mouth? Like, you can go into... No, he doesn't say about my brother. He's like, I can't speak to them. Like, they're not going to listen to me. And God is like, who made man's mouth? And he's like, fine, I will send, like, your brother to speak, but you'll be there. And so it was basically like, God, even our mouths, God is like, I made this. And then even, like, like our organs, for example. He's like, okay, I'm going to have this organ here and this organ there. And he has like the parts of a person everywhere it needs to be. And he's like, okay, I made you and I have you in mind, like your personality, your temperament in mind. I have everything about you in mind, and I'm going to create you. And like, I'm going to refine you. Like, basically, either like as you're being made in the womb and then like put together, and then even after you're born, I'm going to refine you and like work on you no matter what. And it's like, oh, like he made our mouths, so he made like us, just period, like every single part of us. Hey, the church that's next door to our dorm, the college ministry. So it's like, wow, like we may not know it, we may not always believe it, but like, yeah, God makes all of us, every part of us, whether we believe it or not. So yeah, I definitely don't think that kids are a burden by any means. And instead, like, kids should be considered a blessing more than anything. As like, you know what, God created this person and I need to go ahead. So make sure that they survive like the first few years of their life. That's the whole goal. Like, I remember like trying to, make sure this baby was alive, and it's like one more day. Hey, we kept this baby alive. Yes, we did good. But then like after that, then you like let them grow and learn and like thrive in their environment. And so yeah, I definitely think that kids should be considered blessings. And in some cases, kids are even considered some parents' purpose in life. And I say that because I still remember reading about this one guy. I guess he was suicidal because, because his job or past jobs. And he's like, yeah, my kids are the reason why I'm alive. Like, I guess he would have considered or attempted suicide, but because he's like, I can't let my kids live without their dad, he was like, nope, I'm not going to commit suicide. So, yeah, I definitely think that kids, if God is like, okay, you can have kids, and he places kids in your lives, like, that is your purpose. Like, take that back. That is one of your purposes, for you to, like, take care of your child and like raise your child. And some people are like, oh, the ministry comes first. That's great. I'm glad that you consider wholeheartedly that the ministry is very, very important. But like what I've learned is like, if you put like God, the ministry, then family, like things are out of whack. And I say this just from watching people, like my own personal life. And instead it needs to be God, family, then ministry. And like, if it's like, you know what, I'm putting ministry above my family, like, if you don't take care of your family, you're considered worse than an infidel. And some people believe that to be just financial. If that's the case, then I could be placed in a foster system, and then my parents pay a financial fee, and that's it. Guess what? Like, no. Like, kids are not just a financial responsibility. It's like God places a purpose for parents, and it's like, okay, this is your purpose in life, this is your responsibility, and it comes from God. Like, this is on you. And so like, and it's not like this is your burden, but like, this is something precious that God expects us to look after and look over. So it's like people with animals, which I like animals, but it's like you need to consider, a person needs to consider animals, like, oh, they're so precious and cute and all that jazz, and like they're so sweet, or like they'll make a great guard dog or whatever. But it's like, okay, humans also need to be treated like that, especially kids. Like, oh my goodness. Like, I definitely think, yeah. So I like, whenever parents are like, this is a burden. Like, no. Like, where I was like, my mom was the controlling protective type, and you're the loving protective type, which I much prefer. And then with kids, it's like, I much prefer, like, the loving, purpose, responsible type instead of, like, burden. Some people are running out, skipping. And then also some people, they're like, oh, my child is a burden, basically. Or like, yeah, a burden responsibility. And it's like, no, your kids are definitely a responsibility. Like, you still have to take care of them. But, like, they're not a burden, like, at all. Like, just know. If you have that mind frame, it's like, okay, do you love your kids, or is it that you're just there? So, yeah, yeah, I think that sucks for kids. So, just overall, what else is there? I think that's really about it that I can think of for now. I'm glad that your cousin is enjoying themselves. Just seeing the different statues, and then also going to the mall and experiencing that. Going to the mall and experiencing some of the statues and seeing that. And then also bubble tea. I'm a huge fan of bubble tea. It's really good, honestly. I haven't had it in a while, but I know it's really good. And then what else? I think that's really about it that I can think of for now. So, yeah. 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 I think that's about it. So, yeah. But yeah, I definitely think that you're fearfully and wonderfully made. And there's so many kids out there that are also fearfully and wonderfully made. And I hope one day those kids realize that they are fearfully and wonderfully made. And it's like, I made you. I want you. And I hope they realize that one day, or like learn that one day, that they're definitely very much wanted. And they're definitely very much loved, especially by God. Even if they don't always feel it. That sometimes, like, feelings come and go. Like, feelings definitely come and go. But, like, in spite of everything, people are still very, very much loved by God. So, yeah. She does not have the kitten. That is not the lady with the kitten. So, yeah. What else? I think that's about it. I'm glad your siblings' business is going well. And so, yeah. Yeah, I think this will be the last video because I realized the time. But I do hope that you have a wonderful night. I'll make another video tomorrow morning. Actually in the morning, because I do have class at 8 a.m. Yeah, but I do hope that you have a wonderful night and that you sleep well and all that jazz. And let me know if there's anything else you want to talk about. And I'll respond as soon as I can. So, yeah. I hope that you have a great day. And I think that's about it. Yeah. Yeah, let me know if there's anything else you want to talk about, and I will respond tomorrow morning. Talk to you later. Bye.